My name is Eli. I'm 10 years old. I have a condition that's named Osteogenesis imperfecta.
OI is osteogenesis imperfecta, and it is what everybody talks about as brittle bone disease. But in my mind, it's not brittle bones, it's just that the bones break easier.
Yes. So like he's like, oh, I just popped, because he'll hear it like pop very loud.
He understands that if I bend over to pick up a pencil the wrong way, I might break my arm or my leg.
It just all depends like how I break it. So like if it's dislocated, of course it'll hurt like a high. If it's, regular fracture, like
a hairline fracture,
like a hairline fracture, it wouldn't hurt that much.
I mean, he has fractured his femur, I bet 25 times. His entire pre-K, he was in a body cast because he would break his femur, it would heal, I would get him out of a body cast. He'd either break the same femur or the other femur, back in a body cast.
He had his first fracture, and I, as a mother, thought, well, it was probably because, where he had hit himself, and that's probably what caused the fracture. But it was like literally 3 weeks after, and it's like, oh, he has another fracture. And then a month could go by, and I am back in ER again.
When you think of the textbook patient with osteogenesis imperfecta, they're gonna be more short-statured, kind of have a little triangular face. They might have abnormal teeth. Sometimes they can't hear because it affects the tiny little bones in your ear that transmit sound. And they sometimes have what we call blue sclera. So when you look at their eyes, the white part of their eyes are blue. Eli has none of those outward manifestations. So imagine he starts presenting to the emergency room with a broken thigh bone, a broken femur, which we are all taught in medical school that if you see a baby that has a broken femur and it's not excessive force, it's not a car accident, they didn't fall off something, then you should consider what we call non-accidental trauma. So he breaks his thigh bone, his femur, just walking, or all he did is try to dance. His parents take him to the emergency room, and every single time he gets seen there, they get worked up for child abuse. That was the first, I think, 18 months of Eli's life. And then they just happened to show up in my fracture clinic. And all I did is sit and listen to Mom.
I'm so glad she did, because I feel like I don't know where I would have been without her, honestly, at this moment.
We send him for genetic testing, bone biopsies, the metabolic bone clinic. And it's sad, but a sigh of relief, because now they had, proof that he was fracturing from just minor incidents, and it wasn't child abuse.
She has been the best thing that's happened to us since the moment we found out that Eli was diagnosed with OI.
So I think when he was 3 or 4, I was like, we should put these telescopic rods in, so then if he breaks, they're giving you structural stability inside the bone. So then even if the bone breaks, you have enough stability that you don't need a cast.
I don't really have to use a cast. It's only like when it's dislocated. But like when it's like hairlines or regular fractures, Dr. McIntosh does these to help my bones, or our bones for the kids out there, to heal more better instead of being in a cast.
The clamshells, they're called Sarmiento braces, and they make so much sense. It uses your muscles to act as an internal splint, and your muscles then become the splint.
Kind of line stuff down here at the bottom.
He breaks doing the simplest things that you and I take for granted. And so at least I feel like the surgeries he's had have given him a little bit back of his childhood, He doesn't have to think about it all the time.
He has to be a kid. He's got to be happy. He's got to be a kid. He has to eventually learn on his own.
How my life has been a little different is it's just different things, like with movement of my legs, or like movement with my arms that like I can do, but I don't want to do it because I can break. other kids can play sports. I'm not saying like, I can't play sports.
It's kind of hard because I know he questions it a lot, and he'll tell me, well, why can't I play this sport? But there's a lot of adaptive sports that he can try and do. He loves doing archery, and he's played bocce.
When I go in high school, I would like to eventually walk, help out others with the same condition as me.
I met this baby who kept having to be in a body cast. And now when he comes to see me, I get to have a conversation with this young man who's growing up and figuring out his goals and what he wants his future to look like.
Just plan out your future and just get through it.
Yep. Get through it. That's all we can do. Keep pushing forward.